Most adult family home providers do not get surprised by safety systems because they ignored safety. They get surprised because they treated egress, alarms, and sprinklers like late technical details. And late technical details are where cost and schedule surprises hide. If you're a Washington adult family home provider planning a remodel, a conversion, an addition, or a new build, and you want a more predictable budget and schedule, this video is for you. Here's the risk. You move forward with a plan, then later discover that the egress routes, the alarm coverage, and the sprinkler requirements, the water supply, or the fire review create more scope than you expected. That's when a small project becomes a bigger project. Today, I'll show you how to identify the safety system assumptions that drive cost and schedule before you get too far. We'll cover the egress, the alarms, the sprinklers, and the coordination map using a tool called the EAS-8 Trigger Map. Now, here's the principle for this video. Safety systems are not just devices, they're project systems. An alarm is not just a device on the wall. A sprinkler is not just a head in the ceiling. An egress route is not just a door. Each one connects to layout, utilities, review cycles, specialty contractors, inspections, and sometimes phasing. That's why these systems can change cost and schedule so quickly. They do not live in one isolated part of the project. They touch the whole project story. In an adult family home, the safety systems are tied to a simple operating question. How do residents receive warning, move, and get help during an emergency? That question isn't just technical. It connects to resident capability, staffing, sleeping room locations, the doors, the stairs, if there's ramps or grade changes, the alarm strategy, the fire protection strategy, and the ability for staff to respond. This is why you do not want to discover safety system assumptions late. Late discovery usually means redesign, extra review cycles, utility coordination, or the construction sequence changes. A quick caution. This video is not a code interpretation, and it is not a substitute for the authority having jurisdiction, the fire authority, your licensing support, your architect, or qualified alarm and sprinkler professionals. The point is to help you ask better questions earlier, because the most predictable projects are not the ones where nobody has questions. They're the ones where the important questions are asked before the budget and the schedule are treated as real. This is the tool for today, the EAS-8 Trigger Map. It has 4 parts. First, you write your project snapshot and your safety system assumptions. Second, you run 8 trigger checks. Third, you're going to map who must confirm those assumptions. And fourth, you write the top cost and schedule risks before the design advances. The goal is not to make you a code expert. The goal is to keep unknowns from hiding inside the budget. Start with the project snapshot. So, what is the project path? Is this a remodel? Is it a conversion? Is it an addition? Is it a new building? Is the home occupied during the work? What is the resident evacuation reality? Are the residents expected to evacuate independently with assistance, or is that unknown? And what is the target capacity? What is the primary constraint that you're protecting? Is it the budget, the schedule, or the outcome? These inputs matter because the same safety question can create different project impacts depending on the path. An occupied remodel has different risk than an empty new build. A small addition has different coordination issues than a full conversion. A home where residents need evacuation assistance has a different planning pressure than a home where that has already been resolved. Next, you need to write what you think is true about 4 areas. Those areas are your egress routes, your alarm and detection strategy, your sprinkler assumptions, and your water or power support. This section is simple by design. You're not trying to solve everything. You're trying to expose what is assumed, what is unknown, and who must confirm it. Unknown does not mean that the project stops. Unknown means that it needs verification action before the budget and the schedule are treated as stable. The first trigger check is evacuation assistance reality. We want to ask, will the residents need assistance leaving during an emergency? This matters because the building strategy must match the operating reality. If your plan quietly assumes that residents can move somewhat independently, but your care model says otherwise, your design is carrying a hidden risk. This can affect egress thinking, staffing assumptions, and fire review, and possibly the system's scope. So don't leave this vague. Write the assumptions down and confirm it early with the right reviewers. The second trigger is the egress route complexity. Here is where we want to ask, do the exit routes include any stairs, ramps, long travel paths, tight doors, grade changes, or confusing decision points? A route may look acceptable on paper, but still be hard to use in real life. That matters in AFH projects because residents may have mobility limits, cognitive decline, slower response times, or need staff support. This is where layout and life safety meet. The action is simple. Walk the routes in the plan and on site. Mark the barriers. Mark the decision points. And do that before the plan gets locked. The third trigger is your door, corridor, and ramp changes. Small layout changes can affect the safety path. Moving a door, changing a corridor, adding a ramp, or reworking a bedroom location may seem like a design decision, but it can also become an egress, accessibility, hardware, or inspection issue. The lesson is not do not change anything. The lesson is when a change affects the path that people are going to use to leave or be helped, treat it as a safety system decision, not a cosmetic decision. The fourth trigger is alarm audibility and notification gaps. Will residents and staff receive warning reliably throughout the home? Additions, room changes, thick walls, closed doors, finished basements, detached areas, and existing system limitations can all create coverage questions. The cost surprise often comes when the alarm strategy is assumed to be simple, but the existing system can't support the new plan. And that is why you want the alarm approach reviewed early by a qualified vendor and the relevant reviewers. The fifth trigger is the existing alarm system is unknown. This is common in remodels and conversions. There may be equipment in place, but no one knows exactly what it serves, what it's compatible, if it's outdated, or whether it could be extended. That uncertainty can affect your wiring access and your panel capacity. It can also be your replacement scope, your inspections, and any review cycles. So the action is simple. Document the existing system. Get vendor input early, and do not price the project as if existing automatically means usable. The sixth trigger is the sprinkler trigger or the expansion risk. This is one of the biggest cost and schedule sensitivity points because sprinkler questions can involve more than a sprinkler contractor. They can involve fire review and ceiling access, water service, pressure, meters, utility timing, inspections, and sequencing, not to mention the right-of-way work. In some projects, sprinkler scope may be straightforward, and in others, the sprinkler question can change the whole project plan. That's why the sprinkler assumption should be confirmed before schematic design is treated as stable. Do not let "we'll figure out the sprinklers later" become the hidden budget strategy. The seventh trigger is water supply and pressure unknown. If the general sprinkler concept is clear and water supply may not be, you need to confirm the service size, the pressure, the meter constraints, the utility requirements, and whether that utility provider is going to require an upgrade. That is why sprinklers are not just a design line item. They can become a utility timeline issue, and utility timelines quickly become schedule risk. The eighth trigger is the occupied phasing conflicts. So work on the safety systems can be disruptive. It may involve ceilings and walls. It may require water shutdown and wiring, inspections, access to occupied areas, and temporary protection. If the home is occupied, the phasing plan is not a footnote. It is part of the safety strategy. Before you commit to a schedule, ask, can this work happen while the residents are present? And what areas are affected? What inspections or shutdowns may be required? And what temporary measures are needed? After the trigger checks, use the confirmation map. That is where you write who must confirm each assumption. Which egress assumptions control this project? Does fire review need early pre-coordination? What alarm scope is likely? What sprinkler strategy or requirement should be assumed? Is water or power capacity adequate? And that one can get tricky. Can the systems work be phased if we're occupied? Now, the most important part is not filling the box. The most important part is assigning the next confirmation action to the real party. No owner, no progress. Which means that if someone doesn't own or you don't know where this is going, it just stands still. Now, let's talk about the output. Here's where we want to write your top 3 safety system risks for cost and schedule. Then you want to write your non-negotiables before the design advances. Egress assumptions, confirmed. Alarm strategy, confirmed. Sprinkler and water supply capacity assumptions, confirmed. Make sure that your fire and your AHJ review path is confirmed, and occupied or phasing assumptions are confirmed. This is what protects predictability. If egress, alarms, sprinkler, water supply, or phasing assumptions are unknown, don't treat budget or schedule as stable. Convert each unknown into a named verification action. Okay, so let's recap. Your egress, alarms, and sprinklers are not late technical details. They are safety systems that can drive the layout, the review cycles, the utilities, the inspections, the phasing, the cost, and the schedule. Use the EAS-8 to write the assumptions, run the trigger checks, map who must confirm them, and identify the top risks before the design advances. And our next video is about standardization for scaling. So how to build a plan kit without creating cookie cutter risk. If you want to download the EAS-8 and run it before the drawings are treated as stable, please visit our website. It is in the AFH tools page because it's faster to confirm safety system assumptions now than redesign around them later.